What if the greatest betrayal in your life was not done by someone else, but by you? What if every time you begged for someone's attention, tolerated disrespect, chased approval, or sacrificed your peace to keep others happy, you were silently abandoning yourself? Most people spend their entire lives searching for love. They search for it in relationships, friendships, careers, social media, and the opinions of strangers. But the Stoics understood a profound truth thousands of years ago. The person you need most is the person staring back at you in the mirror. Because when you truly love yourself, you stop fearing rejection. You stop begging for validation. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into other people's expectations. And suddenly, the world loses its power to control you. In this video, we will explore one of the most life-changing lessons of Stoicism: how to love yourself more than anyone else. Not through arrogance, selfishness, or ego, but through self-respect, inner peace, and unwavering self-worth. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may completely change how you see yourself forever. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine something. Imagine spending your entire life carrying a precious treasure without realizing its value. You protect everyone else's happiness. You fight for everyone else's dreams. You care about everyone else's opinions. Yet you neglect the one person who has been with you since the day you were born. Yourself. This is the tragedy of modern life. Many people know how to love others. Few know how to love themselves. They know how to comfort others when they are hurting. But when they themselves are suffering, they become their own worst enemy. They criticize themselves. They compare themselves. They judge themselves. They become harsher toward themselves than they would ever be toward a stranger. The Stoic philosophers saw this pattern everywhere. They understood that the quality of your life depends largely on the quality of your relationship with yourself. Not your relationship with money, not your relationship with status, not your relationship with other people, your relationship with yourself. Because no matter where you go, there you are. You can change cities. You can change jobs. You can change relationships. But you cannot escape yourself. That is why learning to love yourself is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Many people confuse self-love with selfishness. The Stoics did not. Selfishness says, I am more important than everyone else. Self-love says, I am just as important as everyone else. There is a world of difference. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, constantly reminded himself that his worth did not come from applause, recognition, or external success. It came from living according to his values. Think about that. One of the most powerful men in human history still understood that true worth comes from within, not from outside. Yet today, millions of people hand their self-worth to strangers. One compliment makes them feel valuable. One criticism makes them feel worthless. One rejection destroys their confidence. One failure convinces them they are not enough. This is dangerous, because when your self-worth depends on others, you become their prisoner. The Stoics wanted freedom. Real freedom. The freedom that comes when your value no longer depends on external approval. Ask yourself honestly, how many decisions have you made simply because you wanted people to like you? How many times have you stayed silent because you feared judgment? How many opportunities have you missed because you doubted yourself? How many nights have you spent overthinking what someone else thinks about you? Now, ask yourself another question. Has any of that brought you peace? Probably not, because peace begins the moment you stop seeking your worth in places where it was never meant to be found. The Stoics believe that every human being possesses something sacred. Your character, your ability to think, your ability to choose, your ability to act with virtue. No one can take these things from you unless you surrender them. Not rejection, not heartbreak, not failure, not criticism, not loss, nothing. And when you understand this, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing people who do not appreciate you. You stop proving your value. You stop explaining yourself to those determined to misunderstand you. You stop begging for a seat at tables where you are not respected. Why? Because you finally understand your worth. Imagine a diamond lying in the mud. Does it become less valuable because it is dirty? No. Its value remains unchanged. Likewise, your worth does not decrease because someone fails to see it. The problem is not your value. The problem is their perception. Most emotional suffering comes from forgetting this truth. Someone leaves. Someone rejects us. Someone criticizes us. And we immediately conclude that something must be wrong with us. But Stoicism teaches a different perspective. Other people's actions reveal their character, not your worth. Their inability to appreciate you does not make you less valuable. Their decision to walk away does not diminish your importance. Their rejection is not proof of your inadequacy. It is simply a reflection of their choice. The Stoics understood that attachment to external validation creates emotional slavery. Every time you need someone else's approval to feel good about yourself, you hand them power over your emotions, and power given away is difficult to reclaim. This is why self-love begins with self-respect. Self-respect means refusing to tolerate what destroys your peace. It means setting boundaries. It means saying no when necessary. It means walking away from relationships that constantly drain your spirit. Many people fear boundaries because they think boundaries will push others away. But the truth is different. Healthy boundaries do not push away the right people. They reveal the wrong people. Those who benefit from your lack of boundaries often become uncomfortable when you finally develop them. But that discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is protecting your inner peace. The Stoics often compared life to a fortress, not a fortress built from stone. A fortress built from wisdom. Within that fortress lives your peace, dignity, and self-respect. Not everyone deserves access. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Not every criticism deserves your attention. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your energy. Protecting yourself is not selfish. It is wise. One of the greatest acts of self-love is learning to enjoy your own company. Many people are terrified of being alone, not because solitude is painful, but because silence reveals truths they have been avoiding. The Stoics cherished solitude. In solitude, you discover who you really are, without distractions, without masks, without performance, without approval. When you become comfortable being alone, something powerful happens. You stop needing people. And when you stop needing people, you begin choosing them wisely. There is a difference between wanting someone and needing. Someone .need creates desperation. Want creates freedom. Desperation says, please don't leave me. Freedom says, I value you, but I will be okay either way. That mindset changes everything. Because confidence is not believing everyone will stay. Confidence is knowing you will survive if they don't. This is true self-love. Trusting yourself enough to face life independently. Trusting yourself enough to recover from heartbreak. Trusting yourself enough to rebuild after loss. Trusting yourself enough to stand alone when necessary. The Stoics faced wars, exile, betrayal, illness, and death. Yet they remained resilient because their strength came from within, not from circumstances, not from relationships, not from possessions, from themselves. And that same strength exists inside you. Perhaps you have spent years doubting yourself. Perhaps you have spent years feeling unworthy. Perhaps you have spent years comparing your life to others. But understand this: comparison is the enemy of self-love. The moment you compare your journey to someone else's, you forget your own value. Everyone is fighting battles you cannot see. Everyone has insecurities. Everyone experiences pain. Social media shows highlights. Life happens behind the scenes. Stop measuring your worth against edited versions of other people's lives. Your path is unique. Your struggles are unique. Your growth is unique. And your value is unique. The Stoics never asked, am I better than others? They asked, am I better than I was yesterday? That is the only comparison that matters. Growth. Progress. Improvement. Not perfection. Perfection is impossible. Does not require perfection. It requires acceptance. Acceptance does not mean settling. Acceptance means recognizing your humanity. You will make mistakes. You will fail. You will disappoint yourself sometimes. You will have weaknesses. That is part of being human. The Stoics believed that mistakes are opportunities for growth, not evidence of worthlessness. Every setback teaches. Every failure strengthens. Every challenge reveals hidden resilience. Stop punishing yourself for being human. Treat yourself with the same compassion you offer others. Speak to yourself kindly. Encourage yourself. Forgive yourself. Support yourself. Because the voice you hear most in life is your own. Make sure it becomes an ally rather than an enemy. As we approach the end of this journey, remember one final Stoic truth. Everything external can be taken from you. Money can disappear. Status can vanish. Relationships can end. Opportunities can fade. Youth can pass. Beauty can change. But your character remains. Your integrity remains. Your wisdom remains. Your courage remains. Your ability to choose your response remains. This is where your true worth lives. Not in the world. Inside you. So stop chasing people who do not choose you. Stop seeking validation from those who cannot give it. Stop abandoning yourself to earn love. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize something painful. The people they sacrificed everything for. The people they stayed awake worrying about. The people they constantly tried to impress. Were never thinking about them as much as they imagined. And at first, this realization hurts. But eventually, it becomes liberating. because you begin to understand that your life was never meant to be lived for the approval of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we waste so much of our lives wondering what other people think. Think about how true that is. How many dreams have died because someone feared judgment? How many talents remained hidden because someone feared criticism? How many lives have been lived according to expectations rather than purpose? The Stoics understood that the need for approval is one of the greatest chains a human being can wear. And unlike physical chains, these chains are invisible. You carry them everywhere. You carry them into relationships. You carry them into your career. You carry them into every decision you make. You become afraid to disappoint people, afraid to say no, afraid to choose yourself, afraid to be different, afraid to be authentic. But ask yourself this: if everyone approved of your life except you, would you truly be happy? The answer is obvious. No. Because at the end of every day, when the noise disappears and the world becomes quiet, you are left alone with yourself. And that relationship determines everything. This is why self-love is not about treating yourself occasionally. It is not about luxury. It is not about temporary pleasure. It is about building a life that honors your soul, a life that aligns with your values, a life that allows you to look in the mirror without regret. The Stoics believed that self-respect is earned, not through success, not through wealth, not through popularity, but through keeping promises to yourself. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your confidence weakens. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. Nothing changes. You tell yourself you will set boundaries. The opportunity appears. You remain silent. You tell yourself you will stop tolerating disrespect. Then you tolerate it. Again. Slowly, your trust in yourself begins to disappear. This is why many people struggle with self-worth. It is not because they lack value. It is because they no longer trust themselves. Self-love requires self-trust, and self-trust is built through action. Every time you honor your word, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you become stronger. The Stoics understood something modern society often forgets. Confidence is not something you think. Confidence is something you build. You build it by doing difficult things. You build it by facing fears. You build it by keeping commitments. You build it by becoming someone you can rely on. And once that happens, your entire life changes. Because now you are no longer searching for someone to save you. You become your own source of strength. Many people spend years waiting for a hero, someone who will love them enough, someone who will heal their wounds, someone who will finally make them feel complete. But the Stoics would ask a different question. Why are you waiting for someone else to give you what you should give yourself? Why are you waiting for permission to value yourself? Why are you waiting for validation before believing in yourself? The truth is simple. No one is coming to rescue you. And strangely enough, that is wonderful news, because it means your happiness is in your hands. Your peace is in your hands. Your growth is in your hands. Your destiny is in your hands. Imagine the freedom of realizing that your life no longer depends on anyone else's choices. Someone leaves, you survive. Someone rejects you, you survive. Someone misunderstands you, You survive. Someone criticizes you. You survive because your foundation is no longer external. It is internal. Like a tree with deep roots. Storms may shake it, but they cannot destroy it. The deeper your roots, the stronger your resilience. And self-love creates deep roots. One of the most dangerous habits that destroys self-worth is constantly seeking external validation. Social media has amplified this problem. People measure their value through likes, followers, views, comments, attention. But attention is not love. Popularity is not worth. Recognition is not identity. The Stoics would remind us that external praise is temporary. One day they cheer for you. The next day they forget you. If your self-worth depends on applause, you will spend your life performing. Always performing. Always proving. Always pretending. Never resting. Never feeling enough. But when your worth comes from within, everything changes. You no longer need the crowd. You no longer need approval. You no longer need permission. You simply become yourself. And that is one of the most powerful things a person can do. To become themselves completely, without apology, without fear, without shame. The world often rewards conformity. The Stoics rewarded authenticity, because authenticity creates peace. Pretending creates exhaustion. Think about how exhausting it is to constantly be someone you're not. To wear masks. To hide your opinions. To suppress your personality. To seek acceptance. Eventually, the soul becomes tired. The heart becomes heavy. The mind becomes restless. Because deep down, you know you are living for others instead of yourself. Self-love means removing those masks. Not everyone will like the real you, and that is okay. Not everyone is supposed to. The goal is not universal approval. The goal is inner peace. And inner peace begins the moment you stop betraying yourself. Many people fear losing others, but they never consider the cost of losing themselves. What happens when you spend years abandoning your dreams? What happens when you spend years ignoring your needs? What happens when you spend years choosing everyone except yourself? Eventually, resentment appears. Exhaustion appears. Sadness appears. You wake up one day and realize you have become a stranger to yourself. The Stoics warned against this. They understood that self-neglect is a silent form of suffering. It happens gradually, almost invisibly. One compromise at a time. One sacrifice at a time. One ignored boundary at a time. Until eventually, you forget who you are. This is why self-love requires courage. The courage to say no. The courage to disappoint people. The courage to walk away. The courage to stand alone. The courage to choose your peace. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. Not everyone will support your growth. Not everyone will celebrate your transformation. Some people benefited from your lack of self-respect. And when you finally begin valuing yourself, they become uncomfortable. Let them. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is your own. Being. Your own peace. your own dignity, your own growth. The Stoics taught that life is short, far shorter than most people realize. One day, all the things that seem urgent today will disappear. The opinions, the arguments, the judgments, the approval. None of it will matter. What will matter is whether you lived authentically, whether you honored your values, whether you respected yourself, whether you became the person you were capable of becoming. Imagine reaching the end of your life. Looking back, would you rather say, I lived according to my truth, or I spent my life trying to please everyone else? The answer is obvious. Yet every day, countless people choose the second path, not because they want to, because they fear rejection. But rejection is not the enemy. Self-abandonment is people will reject you regardless. People will misunderstand you regardless. People will criticize you regardless. So why sacrifice yourself for an outcome you cannot control? The Stoics focused on what they could control. Their thoughts, their actions, their choices, their character. And that is where true self-worth lies. Not in the opinions of others, but in your ability to live according to your principles. Every morning, remind yourself, I do not need anyone's permission to respect myself. I do not need anyone's approval to value myself. I do not need anyone's validation to believe in myself. My worth is not up for debate. My value is not determined by public opinion. My identity is not controlled by external circumstances. I am enough, not because I am perfect, not because I am successful, not because everyone loves me, but because I am human. And every human being possesses inherent worth. Once you understand this truth deeply, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop proving. You stop shrinking. And for the first time in your life, you begin to stand tall. Not because the world changed, because you changed. Because you finally realized that the love you spent your entire life searching for was always meant to begin within. There is a question most people never dare to ask themselves, not because they do not know the answer, but because the answer is uncomfortable. The question is this: if I treated other people the way I treat myself, would they stay in my life? Think about it carefully. Would they stay if you constantly criticized them? Would they stay if you reminded them of every mistake they ever made? Would they stay if you compared them to others every single day? Would they stay if you ignored their achievements and focused only on their failures? Probably not. Yet many people do exactly this to themselves. Every day, every week, every year, they become their own harshest critic, their own bully, their own enemy. The Stoics understood that a mind at war with itself can never experience peace. No amount of money can fix it. No relationship can fix it. No achievement can fix it. Because the problem is internal. And internal problems require internal solutions. This is where true self begins. Not with praise, not with motivation, not with temporary confidence, but with self-acceptance. Does not mean you stop improving. It means you stop hating yourself while improving. There is a difference. Many people believe self-criticism creates growth. The Stoics believed wisdom creates growth. Imagine a gardener caring for a tree. If the tree grows slowly, does the gardener scream at it? Does he insult it? Does he punish it? No. He nourishes it, he waters it, he protects it, he gives it time, because growth requires patience, and so do you. You are not a machine. You are a human being. A human being. Learning, growing, struggling, evolving. And growth takes time. The tragedy is that many people demand perfection from themselves while offering patience to everyone else. They forgive others, but not themselves. They understand other people's struggles, but not their own. They show compassion to strangers, but not to the person they see in the mirror. The Stoics would remind us that wisdom begins with understanding human nature, and human nature includes imperfection. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will experience setbacks. You will disappoint yourself. This is not evidence that you are broken. This is evidence that you are alive. The greatest mistake is not failing. The greatest mistake is allowing failure to define your identity. Failure is an event, not a person. A mistake is an action, not a character trait. Yet millions of people attach their entire identity to temporary experiences. They say, I failed. Then unconsciously they begin believing, I am a failure. Those two statements are completely different. The Stoics knew this. They separated events from identity. You may fail at something, but you are not your failure. You may experience rejection, but you are not. Rejection.you may lose something valuable, but you are not your loss. Your identity is deeper than any circumstance. Your identity lies within your character, within your choices, within your values, within your spirit, and these things remain available no matter what happens. One of the most powerful forms of self-love is forgiveness. Not forgiving others, forgiving yourself. Many people carry years of guilt, years of regret, years of shame. They replay old mistakes repeatedly, as if punishing themselves long enough will somehow change the past. But the Stoics understood a fundamental truth. The past cannot be changed, not by guilt, not by regret, not by self-hatred. Nothing can alter what has already happened, so why continue suffering over it? Imagine carrying a heavy stone every day for 10 years. Eventually, it becomes part of your identity. You forget what it feels like to walk freely. That stone is regret, and many people carry it for far too long. The highest form of wisdom is learning when to put it down. You cannot become the person you are meant to be while remaining chained to the person you used to be. Read that again. You cannot become the person you are meant to be while remaining chained to the person you used to be. Growth requires release. Healing requires release. Peace requires release. The Stoics constantly practiced letting go. Letting go of what they could not control. Letting go of past mistakes. Letting go of unnecessary suffering. Letting go of attachment. Because attachment often becomes the source of pain. Many people become attached to how life should be, how people should behave, how relationships should unfold, how success should arrive. And when reality refuses to cooperate, they suffer. Not because reality is painful, because expectations are rigid. The Stoics embraced reality. Not because reality was always pleasant, because reality was true, and truth always provides a stronger foundation than illusion. Self-love requires accepting reality, accepting where you are, accepting who you are, accepting what happened, and then moving forward, not because it is easy, because it is necessary. There is another lesson the Stoics understood deeply. Your energy is precious, far more precious than most people realize. Every day, people waste enormous amounts of emotional energy, worrying about things they cannot control, arguing with people committed to misunderstanding them, seeking approval from those determined not to give it, chasing relationships that have already ended emotionally, trying to prove their worth, trying to convince others of their value, trying to earn love, trying to earn respect, trying to earn acceptance. The Stoics would ask, why are you working so hard for things that should be freely given? Real love does not require constant proving. Real respect does not require begging. Real connection does not require self-abandonment. When someone truly values you, you do not need endless evidence. You feel it. You know it. You trust it. Self-love means refusing to chase what continuously runs away from you. It means recognizing your value and protecting your energy. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your heart. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your time. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your attention. Attention is one of the most valuable currencies in life. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention constantly focuses on people who do not appreciate you, your happiness suffers. If your attention constantly focuses on criticism, your confidence suffers. If your attention constantly focuses on comparison, your peace suffers. Protect your attention. Protect your mind. Protect your spirit. The Stoics treated the mind like a sacred space. They understood that whatever enters repeatedly eventually shapes character. That is why they carefully guarded their thoughts. And you should too. Feed your mind wisdom. Feed your mind truth. Feed your mind discipline. Feed your mind hope. Because eventually, your thoughts become beliefs. Your beliefs become actions. Your actions become habits. And your habits become your destiny. The person you become tomorrow is being created by the thoughts you entertain today. Choose carefully. One day, you will realize something extraordinary. You never needed everyone to love you. You only needed to stop abandoning yourself. You never needed universal approval. You only needed self-respect. You never needed to be chosen by everyone. You only needed to choose yourself. That realization changes everything. Because now your happiness becomes independent. Your peace becomes internal. Your confidence becomes stable. Your worth becomes unquestionable. Not because life became easier, because your foundation became stronger. The Stoics often spoke about inner freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want. The Stoics disagreed. They believed freedom means no longer being controlled by things outside yourself. No longer controlled by praise. No longer controlled by criticism. No longer controlled by rejection. No longer controlled by fear. No longer controlled by approval. That is true freedom. And self-love is the path that leads there. As we come toward the end of this journey, remember this: The world will try to convince you that your worth must be earned. Earned through success, earned through beauty, earned through status, earned through achievement. But the Stoics knew better. Your worth existed before all those things. Your worth remains even without them, because your value is not created by circumstances. Your value is inherent, permanent, unshakable. You were born with it, and nothing can take it away, except your belief that it was never there. So stop doubting your worth. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop shrinking yourself. Stop abandoning yourself. Stop searching for proof that you matter. You matter. Not because someone said so, not because someone stayed, not because someone chose you. You matter because you exist. And when you finally understand that truth deeply, you become unstoppable. Not in the sense that life stops being difficult, but in the sense that nothing can make you forget who you are. Nothing can make you question your value. Nothing can make you betray yourself again, because now you understand the greatest Stoic lesson of all. The relationship you build with yourself determines the quality of every other relationship in your life. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Trust yourself. Protect your peace. Honor your values. Stand by your principles. And never forget this. The person who walks beside you through every victory, every heartbreak, every failure, every success, every loss, every triumph is you. Make that relationship a beautiful one. Because when you learn to love yourself more than anyone else, not through ego, but through wisdom, self-respect, and inner strength, you no longer fear being alone. You become complete. You become free. You become powerful. And that is where true peace begins.